to the Bondi Beach shooting in this bulletin. And now, Indian authorities have confirmed that Sajid Akram, one of the perpetrators of the deadly Bondi Beach shooting in Sydney, had visited India 6 times over nearly 3 decades, mainly to resolve family property disputes in Hyderabad. Akram, who held an Indian passport, was shot dead by Australian police after he and his son opened fire during the Jewish Hanukkah celebration there, killing at least 15 people. Telangana police said Akram was born in Hyderabad and left India in 1998 for higher studies in Australia, where he lived for nearly 30 years. He returned to Hyderabad in 2000, then 2004, then 2009, then in 2012, then 2016 and 2022, including one shortly after his father's death. Officials stress his visits were limited and linked to personal matters, not ideological activity. Australian investigators have described the attack as a terrorist act inspired by ISIS, but Indian police said there is no indication of any radical link to India. Authorities also confirmed that neither Australian police nor intelligence agencies have formally contacted Telangana police so far. Despite living in Australia for decades, Akram retained his Indian passport and never obtained permanent residency, though he was issued a resident return visa. Officials said his ties with extended family in Hyderabad had broken down years before the attack. Alright, and we now are joined in by retired Major General Sudhakarji, who's an international relations and defense expert. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning. In fact, afternoon now, we're past 12. Now, details coming about this deceased attacker's links to India, but clearly no clear point of contact with his family here in India, and no relation also emerged in connection to his possible indoctrination in India. India has issued this statement that no such evidence was there, nor has the police in Australia contacted Indian authorities. And a similar statement, if you would recall, also came in from Philippines that said that a 1-month-long trip was not sufficient to establish any kind of training or activity related to the attack that was carried out in Bondi. So clearly, no foreign link has been able to has been established so far. So where do you think the suspects were indoctrinated? Was it Australia solely, or is there any possible connection that should be probed into?
Yeah, pretty good morning. Thank you for getting me for the morning show, your show. And as regards the question, you see, for indoctrination or radicalization, the physical geography or physical presence of a person at a place is not paramount, nor is it actually important. What is
Right.
important is that the act of terror, the deceased, may his soul rest in peace, the act of whether he's got roots or contact with India or USA or any country, terrorism as such is a collective threat to the world order. It has got no boundaries. Regardless of which place he belongs to, it could be any place, the best of places in the world. Today, American citizens are getting radicalized. How are they getting radicalized? They're getting radicalized by internet, by social media.
Right.
Take your mind back to the New Orleans attack, which took place sometime in January, just close to the date of assumption of presidency 2.0 by Donald Trump. And he's an ex-serviceman. He's from Paris Special Forces, and he just drove his vehicle. It was a lone wolf kind of attack, but he rammed into people, killed couple of people, 5, 6 people then and there. And he's a military man. He's a veteran. He's getting indoctrinated, and on investigation, you found that he's got links with ISIS. So how did he get indoctrinated? So therefore, location and connections, whether it is Hyderabad or India or Chennai or any place in the world, is of no relevance. Relevance is that he has perpetrated a terror, an act of crime against the humanity. He must be held accountable, and India must cooperate. If at all there is some kind of a connection, there is nothing to feel bad or have remorse on. We must have remorse. We must collaborate, we must extend sympathy and empathy with Australia so as to give a lesson to the world body that the document which India made way back in 96 also contains similar thing. We have been trying to seek the attention of the world order, trying everyone to define what is terrorist and what is terrorism. Common definition and counter strategy to be adopted. These are the classic cases which are coming to light. I hope and I pray that the Five Eye countries to start with will come together for a common understanding and to formulate a counter strategy which can be effectively addressed world over, because terrorism does not have any kind of boundary nor barriers to transgress into each other's country and carry out mayhem against the mankind.
Right. Sudhakarji, now you would know that Australia has also recently banned social media for under 16 people. But this was a grown man. So what efforts should be taken collectively, across the nations, or some, some options that could be explored to prevent such online radicalization? We also have seen how several countries have fallen prey to online radicalization that has led to these kind of attacks.
Take your mind back to India's election 2024, just around that election. The world over, particularly USA, had employed Meta and other leaders to carry out fact checking of the internet. And the fact checking is to be done by very experts. And they used to be paid very handsomely by people in Hyderabad, Chennai, and elsewhere in India. What was the fact checking? The fact checking was in any internet communication generating from any IP address to any other IP address, they is to be virtually checked. And they, if anything was against USA or USA administration, either the message is to be deleted or there is to be scrutinized under checks and balances. So similar kind of thing can take place. Also, I am given to understand country like France, some countries in Europe, they have developed a mechanism and also some kind of a hardware which carries out scrutiny of the social media data as also the internet communications. And in case anything is antisocial, they are either rejected, the transmission doesn't take place, or they are subject to modification of the content. This I also didn't know. I am not a very IT specialist or a domain expert, but I was surprised that such kind of penetration into the communication can be done, because it is infringing on the privacy of communication.
Yeah.
So there are good things happening in the world, there are bad things happening. This is where the world has to come together to carry out checks and balances of communication. In Jammu and Kashmir, there was a time we used to always resort to, or other places in India itself, we used to resort to choking. What is choking? That conduit which passes through the communication goes through some choking points. Those choking points have to be subjected to scrutiny. How it is done, I can't explain, I am a non-take, but it is being done. It is being done, it is being regulated, it is being monitored. So that is the kind of system which Australia may have to actually ensure implementation for better effectiveness, so that these kind of free flow of weapons and illegal lethal weapons doesn't actually go to wrong hands and people resort to this kind of mayhem against the mankind.
Yeah, so would you say there was some failure in terms of intel inputs and surveillance systems in Australia that could not prevent this attack from taking place, given that the gunman was using the normal routes that any other people were taking to the Bondi Beach?
Excellent point, Priti. I must compliment you. Where hasn't the aid failure taken place? You talk about 9/11, you talk about London attack, you talk about the 26/11 Taj Hotel attack in Mumbai, you talk the Japanese sarin attack, that chemical attack. Everywhere the informations have been flowing that there is a possible potential threat from terrorist attack.
Yes.
In Australia itself, for days together, prior to this particular incident, there was information flowing. The Prime Minister himself has been briefed by the intelligence agencies. So what has he done? Has Australia taken any defensive or any remedial measure? No. We are complacent till the such kind of, till we become victims of such kind of terrorist activities. Till then, will keep on, taking undue advantage of the situation. Why did 7th October 2023 take place? IDF, Israeli Defense Force, is one of the formidable forces in the world. Yet the Hamas non-state actor, they blacked out the electromagnetic spectrum from 6:30 in the morning till 6:55, and they launched a multi-domain operations against the formidable army, not in the border, 28 kilometers inside the border. They hit the tactical headquarters, they hit the veterans, they killed people. Why did it happen? Didn't Israel come to know about it? Were they sleeping? So therefore, the issue is that if a superpower could be hit and people could knock down, bring down the twin towers with aeroplanes, but despite the fact that superpower knew that such a thing was actually coming, it is very difficult to actually, despite the fact the intel was there, it is very difficult to pinpoint. The art of actually, converting intelligence into actionable action
Yes.
is a very, very intricate, very difficult task, and it is easier said than done. That is all I can comment at the moment.
All right, sure. Thank you very much for speaking to us once again, Major General. And with that, viewers, let's give you some more information now. Hundreds of people are swimming and paddling surfboards of Australia's Bondi Beach now to honor the 15 people who were shot and killed during the Hanukkah celebration last week. Out on the water at the iconic Sydney surf spot, people have gathered together in a memorial circle. Let's in fact listen in to what some of the attendees have said.
I think it's an important day for everyone to come back together. On Wednesday, a few of the swimming crews also got together and we got to swim. It's a good way to support each other in these terrible moments. And yeah, as Dan, one of the organizers, said today, this is Bondi. Community, being early in the morning, enjoy the sunrise, do some exercise and support each other, no matter what background you have, what religion and what culture you're coming from.
About coming down here this morning, I didn't think I was ready to go back into the water because this is still, people are grieving terribly, grieving that we're still burying bodies. But I just felt it was important because this is something that I do in my life, and I'm not going to let someone so evil, someone so dark, stop me from doing what I do and what I enjoy doing.
People want to do something and need to do something. They don't know how to let out their grief. And to be together is such an important way of trying to deal with what's going on. So it was really lovely to be part of it. I personally am feeling very numb. I'm feeling super angry. I'm feeling furious. I feel like I don't know how to let it out. Jumping in the water and swimming, which is not my comfort zone at all, helped.
And now moving on, viewers, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the current situation in